Welcome to Quadrants of Mental Health. I am your host, Dr. J. Johnson, affectionately known as AJ. Please like, subscribe, and share. Hello, and welcome to Quadrants of Mental Health. This is AJ, your host. We are doing something different you may not have seen before, but we actually started this way, doing a phone interview. I have Miss Scott on the line. We talk about on the show the mind, the body, the spirit, the finances. And today we're going to talk about her journey, and I'm going to infuse in teaching. What does teaching mean? Because a lot of times we talk about teaching and a lot of people are not clear on that. They think teaching means talking, okay? So Miss Scott, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
All right. So we've been knowing each other for about 2 years now, I believe, and I just wanted to touch base with you to really talk about how did we meet and where did we meet? How did you hear about my program?
So I started the program in March 2020. A friend of mine was taking the parenting class, and when you guys went on Zoom because of COVID, she invited me to the class.
Mm-hmm.
And since it was convenient, it was only 1 hour, 1 day a week, and I have a preteen at the time, I decided to take the class.
Okay.
And that's how we met.
Okay. Now, prior to that, were you having any issues with your daughter in your home at all, or you just wanted to take the class just to take the class?
I was just taking the class just to take the class. Like I said, my daughter was 12 at the time, and I had heard so many issues from other people about teenage years and things like that. And I just thought it just made sense to me to take a parenting class that was free and convenient at that time to get some information and some heads up.
And if I remember correctly, this was one of your famous lines. So, AJ, so what you're saying is...
You always bring that up.
I'll never forget that. So what you're trying to tell me is, and you repeat back to me what I was saying and say yes, and it was like you had to process that a little bit. So I challenge your thinking a little bit.
Because you were saying things that I had never heard of before, and I've taken parenting classes before and listened to videos and different things before, as far as education and parenting classes, but you were saying things that were totally different. And I really had to stop and process in my mind, like, is this really what you are saying? Is this really what you're asking me to do?
And in doing so, challenge your thinking a little bit and your process, and that's where we got to that side of healing, because parents can be right. We know that you can be right, or you want to be happy.
Right.
And if you want to be happy, then you have to look at the what you say and what you do in the home, the effect that it has on the child and others in the home. It could be your husband or all of your children. It could be just one child. So if you want to be happy, then you want to kind of meter yourself a little bit. So once you started taking my class, did you notice that, hey, there are some things that I could improve on?
Yes.
Give me an example.
Well, before I took the class, of course, as you said in the class, I was basically raising our child, the way my parents raised me. I'm the authority in the home, the parents are the authority in the home, and you do what I say, the whole 9 yards. And what I began to understand is kids have stress, which I never thought about it before taking this class, I guess, in that particular way.
Yeah.
I know I, as an adult, have stress. I guess I
but it never dawned on you
that stress.
Really? That's interesting.
I'm like...
And they are little humans, but you didn't think about it.
Right. Right. I never thought about it. I never thought about she was having stress in her daily life and things that she was going through and processing.
Right. That's a huge one. And then look at trauma, and the fact that it has on the body and brain and how we were raised. A lot of parents say that, oh, this is how I was raised, or this is what I did. Now, I'm going to ask you a question, too, because I'm thinking about my book, page 42, when they talk about logic. Were you one of those logic-based parents as well?
Yes.
Talking to them with logic?
Yes.
And you could see the light go off in their eyes sometimes, or they kind of shut down and you kept talking?
Yes.
Okay. That's, now I'm talking to you now on the side of victory because I know that things have gotten a lot better because you didn't just take the class one time. When I mean one time, it's a 12-week class, 12-week parenting class. You can go to our website if you want to register for it. We'll put that on the screen. But you didn't just take it one time. How many times did you end up taking it that year?
I actually took the class 4 times.
4 times. Isn't that awesome? And you learned something every time you took it?
I learned something new every time, and also taking the class over helped to reinforce the things that I was learning. And I'll be honest with you, even after taking the class 4 times, there's still a lot of things I'm processing.
Yes.
And still a lot of things I'm trying to implement.
Yes.
I still feel like I don't implement everything that I learned. And I'm not consistent with it all the time either.
Right.
So that was one of the reasons why I think I was taking the class over again, just trying to understand and process this whole new way of learning and a whole new way
parenting.
of parenting.
Yes. Now, tell me about the victory side of things. How are things now with your daughter?
So the victory side is now I understand not to have a logical conversation with my emotional child. That she is 100% emotional 100% of the time.
Oh, I'm going to have to write you a check.
Oh, please do. Please
I like that. 100% emotional 100% of the time when you speak.
And I now understand and process that when I speak to my daughter, she not only hears what I say, or she might not even really hear what I say, but she feels what I say.
Yes.
And how she interprets what I say. And sometimes when I'm talking to her, she'll repeat back to me, I'm like, that's not what I said. I didn't say anything like that.
She's telling you what she heard.
That, but that's what she heard.
Right.
And more importantly, that's what she felt.
Right.
So I'm more key into those types of feelings, which is really kind of new to me because I'm not really a touchy-feely kind of a person.
Yeah.
I'm really a very logical person.
Right, even in your work.
Very black and white work.
Right, even in your work, yes, it's logic-based too. So, your whole world is that way. So to come home and deal with an emotional child, to recognize that she has emotions and feelings and stress can be challenging to any parent.
Correct.
And that's why I always tell parents, when you take the class, don't just take the class so you can check a box and you can get a certificate. Take the class so that you can learn something about yourself and how you deal with people. Because when you grow, who wins?
Not everyone.
Everybody wins when you grow. And that's so important to understand. And I have so many people at 8 o'clock, as soon as I say, well, this is the end of the class, click, 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 they start getting offline. They don't stay. They don't process. They don't call. They just say, okay, well, I've done my sentence, so to speak, especially if they're court ordered to do so. But I always encourage people to learn. So, and take it as often as you can. I mean, it's free. You've taken it 4 times. I heard you say that you may be coming back again. Okay.
It's very possible. Right now, I'm taking another class.
Okay.
My time slot. But it's very possible that I may come back again and take the class.
And you also had taken other parenting classes. You said that earlier. Tell me what's some of the major differences you see between what we teach versus other classes. What were they teaching?
Let's see. It's been so long ago.
Just give me one
I took this class called Growing Kids God's Way. And it seemed to be a more, more down the line kind of class than what your class was teaching. And like I said, it was so long ago. I don't even think I had a kid when I took the class.
Oh, what do you mean down the line?
Yeah.
You mean stuff that you
know? It was
right now?
more biblical based.
Okay.
It was like biblical based, and I really couldn't even It's been so long ago. I really
Okay,
couldn't even
okay,
tell you like the core
okay.
principles that we even talked about.
Yeah, but it's biblical based, so they use a lot of
But it was definitely a
scriptures.
biblical based course.
Okay,
It was
okay,
taught at church,
uh-huh,
you know,
okay.
and it
Did
was
they,
just
what did they
talking
talk about?
about.
Sparing the rod, spoiling the
It was
child.
yeah, it was more of
What did
the
they say about
standard,
that? What did what?
teaching your kids the 10 Commandments, to honor
Mm,
your parents.
mm.
It was none of this love based, kids have stress kind of stuff.
Right, right,
I don't
right,
remember any kind of that kind of stuff
right. And there are a
being
lot of
taught.
parenting classes out there, and I'm sure they all have their place. But like you said, we teach love based parenting. We teach the first person that you need to love and take care of is who?
It's yourself.
Exactly. Self care is
Self
so
care.
important. Self care, mind, body, spirit, and finances. Work on you, and then you can help your child. You can see clearly to help your child when you do those things. Okay,
Right.
so you're doing a good job. Now, I do recall that there's been some trouble in the marriage and separation, but there are peaks and valleys of hope there as well. What do you attribute that to?
I contribute to a lot of prayer.
A
Number
lot of
one,
prayer, and also using the same principles
right,
that you
and
learned.
right, the parenting class, using a lot of the same principles that I learned in the parenting class with my spouse, and understanding that the spouse, you don't have logical conversations with the emotional person,
It
which is
doesn't
also
work.
my spouse,
Yes.
which I had no clue about that, which that I can
Mm.
see now where that caused a lot of issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
Being a logical person, I want to have a logical conversation. I
Yeah.
don't want to have emotional conversation. But
Yeah.
I've learned not to do that,
Hmm.
and to
And you begin to see his
understand
fear.
his stress
His fear too.
and fear.
Yeah. Yeah. Understanding of it, because in the past, when we felt stressed, we saw threat.
Right.
And he felt the same way. And I like what you said too about that logical conversation, because it's difficult to do with the other parent as well. It's not going to work.
Right.
When you use logic with them, they get in their feelings really fast and they shut down on you, and
Right.
that means brain is going offline and you're not going to get through. But people continue to talk, and then what we do, we withdraw
Right.
for a period of time or a season. Then we come back together, and
Right.
it seems like you create that loop, that negative feedback loop of engaging and withdrawing, engaging and withdrawing. Pretty soon you just shut down and you're on two different islands.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Now we don't know what God has in plan for the marriage right now, but I do see from just talking to you that you have learned a lot about yourself and about the relationship through taking the quote unquote parenting class. If I could retitle it, I would call it relationship class, because it teaches you about all relationships, but it's parenting because we try to work on that parent-child relationship. But the skill set is the same. Haven't you seen that to be true?
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, look, I'm not going to hold you because I know you are at work, and I really appreciate you taking the time to meet with me. We may do this again in the future if you're open to it, but I just wanted to talk to you about it. You have any last words, any encouragement you would like to give to those who may be listening?
I would just like to encourage anyone who has a relationship with anyone to take the class, because it is a relationship class. And one of the things I tell people when I am encouraging them to take the class is that it is a relationship class. Because even though you're parenting your child, you still have a relationship with the child.
Yes.
So it's still fostering and improving that relationship.
Yes.
So I definitely encourage people to take the class to build relationships.
Thank you so much for that endorsement. That's a little commercial for Quadrant Family Services and for Quad Pod Studio and for Quadrants of Mental Health. You see, I use quadrants all the time because I believe in that fourth dimension. It's all parts of us: mind, body, spirit, and finances. So thank you for that, and I appreciate you, and keep up the good work, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. And we'll be back on Quadrants of Mental Health.